Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the heart of Gamer Nation. We are 24K reviews, movies, TV shows, and video games. We are in the Halloween month, and we are the third day into Halloween month, October. And we are reviewing Shaun of the Dead. Yes, one of the Cornetto trilogy, one that we love so much, the one that broke the mold, that proves that comedy and horror can mix together in a zombie genre when it's done correctly. Both Simon Pegg and Nick Frost killed it. Absolutely killed it. This was probably one of the breakout movies from Britain, from the UK, that we love. This started a lot of people's fascination with UK horror. UK horror can go either way. It can either go completely horror, like if you're doing anything from Argento, or you can go comedy, depending on what you want to go. Like, there's no telling what you're going to get, but you're always going to get a great thing. Like, even Cockneys versus the Zombies, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Shaun of the Dead has its own entity carved out for the simple fact that even George Romero liked it so much that in Land of the Dead, the 2005 movie, both Shaun and Shaun and his, not going to do Shaun and Ed, but we're going to do their real life names. We'll give the actors credit. So Simon Pegg and Nick Frost were actually zombies in the background during a carnival show that they're showing in there. If you stop and pause and look them out, you can actually see zombie Simon Pegg and zombie Nick Frost, because Romero was so impressed with this movie, which was heavily influenced by Dawn of the Dead, the 70s version. Even some of the music that they used for Shaun of the Dead was actually verbatim from Dawn of the Dead, the 70s version. Shaun of the Dead, there's so many different ambivalent emotions I have about it. Nothing negative at all, because I love Simon Pegg and Nick Frost together. The Cornetto trilogy, Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, even This Is the End. I don't know if This Is the End, The End, where they were fighting aliens. I don't know if you ever saw that one. It was actually really good too. I even watched their series, Spaced, from UK. But I love those two guys together. They just have an on-screen chemistry that is amazing. So Shaun of the Dead starts off with an ordinary guy, Shaun, who is a lot like us gamers. So there's a lot of parallels that you're going to draw right from the beginning, because a lot of us are like that. The two guys are gaming at the beginning, both Shaun and Ed on the couch, when Ed reminds Shaun that he has to go to work. So as player 2 enters the game, player 2 has to exit the game, and he has to go to work. And of course they have a roommate that is not too fond of Ed living there, and everybody believes that Shaun is wasting his life because of Ed, because he basically is doing what he wants to do, living vicariously the life of a child as an adult. And a lot of us know, like I said, a lot of us can relate to the role of Shaun, and some of us to Ed, being that person in somebody else's life who intends really good, who loves them, but on the same token means no harm, even though they're destroying someone else's life. It happens. So as they're going about their day, you notice that the world around them is falling apart, falling ill to a sickness that is happening, which is hilarious, because if you look in the background, every time you watch this movie, you notice something you never noticed before. And I love that, because they're hidden so well that you have to go back and rewatch it multiple times to find everything that's in the background. The first season of Fear the Walking Dead did this very well too. In Fear the Walking Dead season 1, actually episode 1, the world is falling down, and if you look closely in the background, you notice things from a zombie walking over here in the background in the park, to a dead person being eaten here and there. But there are things so far in the background that you barely notice them unless you're looking for them. And Shaun of the Dead is like that too. And as we go through Shaun's day, we understand the type of relationship he has, and once again his relationship is being sacrificed because of the choices he made, both with Ed and his life. Shaun is not the best son, he's not the best boyfriend, but he is the best friend. But he has a lot of growing up and maturity to do. So as he's going about his day, he breaks up with his girlfriend, and he's sort of just drowning his sorrows at the local bar with his best friend Ed. And they go home, and when they go home, of course they're having fun because Ed is trying to cheer up Shaun. So they're having an 80s party with scratching and records, and the roommate gets angry because he has to go to work in the morning. Of course he's angry, and then he lets him know he was attacked by crackheads and he got bit. And you know, it just starts this argument again with Ed being the part that's dragging Shaun down. He even mentions Liz did the breaking up because of how Shaun is living his life because of Ed. So as morning comes, Shaun gets up and he walks to the local store, as he did the day before, and he's just so disillusioned by the life around him that the first day he walks by, the same things are going on around in the background, that this time when he's walking down the street, the same people are there and they're doing the same things, but they're dead now. But because he's so used to this monotone life, he doesn't pay attention to it. So he walks by a zombie that's in the street, but the person is always a bum asking for change. So as he walks by him, the guy goes, he's like, oh, I don't have any change. Like, he's not even awake mentally to what's going on around him. He walks into the store, he slips on some blood, but he's not paying attention. He's oblivious. He gets a soda pop out of the cooler, he closes it, there's a bloody handprint, and it's pure genius because he is so blatantly gone from reality, especially over the breakup that he had the night before, and he's hungover, that he's not paying attention to none of this around him. And he's waiting for the store clerk like he did the day before, and the store clerk never shows up. So he puts change on the counter and tells the guys, I owe you a certain amount of money, and he leaves. And he comes back and he gets Ed a Cornetto, which is funny because the Cornetto trilogy is known for that little joke. And if you notice in Hot Fuzz, and if you notice in the other third movie, The End, that little joke is always in the background, the Cornetto ice cream. And it's awesome because the Cornetto trilogy, you have to dig deep into Simon Pegg and Nick Frost and this whole world that they created. Even in the series Space, Cornetto is represented. And like I said, if you haven't seen Hot Fuzz, go check out Hot Fuzz. It is Shaun of the Dead from another spin. Kind of think of it as like Shaun of the Dead if they did Scream. And it's really enjoyable. If you like Shaun of the Dead, you're going to love Hot Fuzz. And if you love Hot Fuzz, you're going to love The End with aliens. Like, I love their idea and their take on horror and comedy blended together. It's just something that's worthwhile in a watch. So anyway, as Shaun comes back home, I'm not going to do a verbatim for this entire movie, but as Shaun comes back home, he sits and plops on the couch, and he's looking for Ed because he has Ed's ice cream, and Ed is like, there's a woman in the garden. So he walks over, and they're looking at this woman in the garden. She's just standing there. So they go out to greet her, and they're calling her, and she's just like not responding. So they throw a basket at her, and then she turns around and they're like, she's drunk. She's so drunk. Because remember, I know we would like to believe our mind would go straight to zombie, but unless a person is showing some form of viscera, we're not going to automatically go to zombie. That's not where our mind is going to go. So of course they think she's just drunk. So as she walks over to Simon Pegg's character, Shaun, she jumps on him and he's laughing because he's like, she's so drunk. But then Shaun immediately notices there's something wrong with this woman, while his friend Ed is taking pictures and laughing. He was just like, no, wait a minute, there's something wrong. So he pushes her off of him and she comes at him again. So he's like, seriously, I'm going to have to get physical. And he pushes her and she falls onto a pipe and is impaled. And she slowly stands up off of the pipe. And Shaun is just like, what in the hell is going on? Which, funny enough, Ed is still winding the camera to take a picture. It's stupid, but that level of stupidity is littered throughout the whole movie. It's a comic relief. There are certain points of this movie where it does go serious, but I'm glad that it's brought back into the comedic realm. I mean, if they made a serious horror movie, I would watch it hands down with no problem, because they nail the horror aspect of the zombie genre. They nail it 100%. But this is when they realize that something's going on. So when they come in and turn the TV on, they realize this is happening everywhere. And of course, they leave the door open like the roommate always complains to them. The door was open again. So now there's zombie in the house and they're trying to kill it, and they end up smashing it in the head with a glass ashtray. So it works. So they go in the backyard and they end up killing these other zombies. But then they realize, we gotta go save my mom, well, Shaun's mom. We're never treated to what happened to Ed's dad, Nick Frost's character, or his family. We know he lives with Shaun, like on his couch, but we don't know what's going on with his character, which there's a deeper story. I kind of wanted a sequel or a prequel before this, but then it wouldn't be Shaun of the Dead because there would be no zombies. But so these characters decide they have to go out, get these group of people, bring them back to the Winchester, and chill out and have a beer until the whole thing blows over. That's his whole plan. Which is funny because one of the first throwbacks is when he calls his mom, and his mom tells him that Phil, her husband, Shaun's stepdad, is bitten. And Nick Frost's character jumps on the phone and says, "We're coming to get you, Barbara." Which, if you didn't get that literal throwback, that is to the Night of the Living Dead, George Romero's first film, because that's the first line thrown in the graveyard when, I can't even remember her name, and her brother, he's teasing her in the graveyard, "They're coming to get you, Barbara." It's funny that it escapes my mind now because I normally have it on my head, but that throwback is literally riddled throughout the whole movie because they pay so much respect to Romero's version of the walking of literally zombies, The Walking Death. I was going to say The Walking Death. That if you are a fan of any one of Romero's movies, you'll instantly like this, just the way it's run. And the movie is it is a Simon Pegg and Nick Frost fest for the senses. And the movie goes on. It takes up steps higher. It goes down. There's moments of levity. There's moments of reality. It takes a somber pace towards the climax of the movie where Shaun realizes his mom is bitten and he has to put her down. That's a very sad scene in a comedic movie that I didn't expect because it hits very hard. Even though this is a movie of comedy and they treat itself of what it is, they take certain moments to inflict a certain amount of drama, and I like that. I really do like that. Another one is when Ed, Nick Frost's character, is bitten for doing stupid mistakes. They have a saying, "F around and find out," and for Ed being stupid, he pays the ultimate price from being bitten and turning into a zombie. Actually, they lose their entire crew of people besides Shaun and his girlfriend. And at the end of the movie, we're treated to a world of utopia that basically, they call it Z-Day. Zombies are treated like second-class citizens. Some of them are used as trolley boys and work in farms and restaurants and stuff. They're basically seen as mindless, but they have attributes that you can use. Which there is another zombie movie, which I'm trying to think of the name. I'm really good at it. I don't know what it is. Basically, in this movie, there was a zombie apocalypse, and they came out with a drug. Some people took the drug, and it held their zombie disease at bay to the point where they were able to come back, live with people, and they didn't crave human flesh. They looked like humans, but they had to stay on the drug. But they had to keep giving higher doses and higher doses of the drug because sooner or later the body would fight it off. And they, most of the human race did not accept these people because of what they were and what they did to their loved ones and families. It's a really good movie. I'll probably do a video on it later this month. I'm not going to do it now, but like I said, that's basically where this movie ends, where Ed and his girlfriend are together in the house. The world is dealing with Z-Day sometime afterwards. We don't know how far, but Shaun goes to leave. He said, "I'm going to go out to the garden for a little bit while she prepares some tea," and he walks into the shed, and Ed is chained up, and he's playing a video game with Ed, and he tells Ed not to bite him, and it's a very sad, soft thing. At the same token, it's an odd ending for sure. But like I said, it's a Cornetto. It's a Cornetto film. It's part of the Cornetto trilogy. Shaun of the Dead. How else would you want Shaun of the Dead to end? Honestly. So, in the Game Dojo, I had fun with this movie. I like the ups and downs. I love Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. I am high fans of both of them, and it's an ultimate fan fest and zombie fest for the mind. Like I do like it. I like how it pokes fun at society's ideals, even zombies, and the way that our lives would parallel with them if such a situation would happen, because stupid people would do stupid things, and stupid situations would breed stupid outcomes. Just like some smart people would breed stupid things, and you would have a-holes, you would have, some people trying to find the love of their life. It's very realistic in certain aspects, but it's very overdrawn and over pushed in other aspects, because you want it to be heightened and overthrown to certain aspects. But I like where the movie goes. So here in the Game Dojo, we are going to give Shaun of the Dead a gold rating. Absolute gold. It's absolute gold. I would give it a platinum, except for my zombie movies, I prefer to be dramatic, not comedy. I'm not taking away from it because it's comedy. I actually like the fact that it's comedy, but I cannot give it a platinum rating. Now, if we did a separate category of zombie comedies, it would be platinum. Top of the list, 100%. But we're not doing zombie comedy, we're doing the genre as a whole. And as far as zombie movies go, this is up there and it's gold. It's a step above a lot of other zombie movies that are not comedic in the genre. Definitely. So yeah, we're going to give this a gold rating, 24K. So this is the 24K gold rating. Shaun of the Dead, Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, one of the Cornetto trilogy of films. I love it. Buy it on Blu-ray. Watch it when it comes along. And because it is the Halloween month, because it is October, ladies and gentlemen, you owe it to yourself at least one day out of this month. Or if you're doing a binge watch on October 31st on Halloween, definitely throw this into the mix of movies that you want to watch. It's between the levity, the horror, the drama, and the low point. This is the refresher, the palate refresher, the palate cleanser when it comes to horror. Watch it, like it, enjoy it, and I recommend the entire Cornetto trilogy. Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, the end. Watch all three. And if you have the ability, watch Spaced. Spaced is the series that started off Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. And even in one of the episodes, Simon Pegg does a lot of weed, and he's playing, I want to say Resident Evil, but he falls asleep, so he wakes up, and there's a scene of him being in Resident Evil fighting zombies, which inspired this movie, believe it or not. That's actually what inspired them to do this movie. And I'm so glad they did, because I love Simon Pegg's work. And I love him in everything that I've seen of him, from Mission Impossible to Star Trek. Pretty much everything I've seen Simon Pegg in. Ted, like I love his array of work. I love him as a British actor, and I celebrate his work catalog. So, from 24K, this was Shaun of the Dead, 24K gold ratings. Thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll check all of you guys out next time. Until then, so long from the Game Dojo.